En este vídeo vamos a ver cómo un ex trader institucional pasó de ser un trader retail con 16-17 años a llegar a trabajar para Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers y JP Morgan. También nos explicará su historia, cómo empezó, cómo llegó a escalar de esa manera y por qué hace acciones americanas. Si os interesa, quedaros a verlo. Buenas, ¿qué tal? Pues os traigo otra entrevista. La verdad es que la entrevista del otro día vi que gustó bastante. Un poco la idea es ir trayendo este tipo de entrevistas, aparte de analizar mis operaciones y demás, pero si al final veo que lo que más os gusta es este tipo de contenido, pues me enfocaré un poco más en traer este contenido. La idea también es, dentro de no mucho, empezar a hacer yo entrevistas a diferentes traders que nos puedan ayudar y dar su visión de mercado. Así que en este vídeo vamos a ver una entrevista que le hacen a Anton Kreill, que es un trader que empezó alrededor de los 16 años a operar. Consiguió que lo fichara Goldman Sachs, después JP Morgan, y tiene una trayectoria bastante larga. Ya está jubilado, así que seguro que nos puede ayudar mucho cómo ha llegado a conseguir de todos estos objetivos que se había marcado desde bien joven. Así que os dejo la intro y vamos para allá.
So yeah, we're lucky enough to have Anton Kreill here. He started his career with trading at about 16 with his own money, and then got recruited into Goldman Sachs, headhunted to Lehman Brothers, JP Morgan before retiring, traveling the world. Then you may know that he also did a BBC program, $1 Million Traders, and proceeded to form his own company. And next year he's going to travel to space, hopefully. So yeah, it's a pretty ridiculous career. I think we're going to learn a lot from this interview. So if we could just have a warm welcome and a round of applause for Anton. Okay, so let's make a start. How did you get into the world of trading?
Started trading pretty young, as you mentioned in the introduction. Started when I was 16, basically. So grew up in Liverpool and was watching documentaries on television about the markets. So this was like 1994, 95. And there was a lot of documentaries on TV about Thatcher's Britain and how lots of guys in the city were making lots of money. So I was watching these documentaries thinking I could do it because I'm clever than these guys. So literally opened a trading account with a local stockbroker in the north of England. And back then it was all physical stock. So you couldn't leverage or borrow money to trade. So it was one-for-one cash trading in physical shares, and really got into the IPO situations where you could buy stocks in the morning, where you put in for the IPO allocation a few weeks earlier. You get the IPO allocation and without even paying for it, and then you can flip the IPO like at lunchtime if it goes up, 50, 100%, because it was all T+3 settlement. So you used to have to send a check to the stockbroker and then it'd be settled in 3 days. So you were able to flip IPOs and not actually pay for them. So really got into it that way.
Okay, and you continued trading at university?
Yeah, so at
Bueno, algo que me llama la atención es la diferencia de cómo se operaba realmente no hace tantos años, está hablando sobre el 94, y la diferencia de cómo operamos ahora, ¿no? Que desde nuestro mismo ordenador podemos comprar, vender, podemos apalancarnos, podemos conseguir una cuenta fondeada, tenemos muchísimos más mecanismos para poder crecer en el mundo de la inversión.
University, it was 97 to 2000. So I was pretty lucky. I caught the tech bull market, the tech boom. So flipping IPOs and trading IPOs was actually really straightforward. And university day used to be get up at 6 a.m., do an hour's research.
Esto es algo que también es importante remarcar. Sí que es cierto que para invertir o para hacer cualquier tipo de negocio en la vida nunca es el momento adecuado, porque siempre hay problemas diferentes, pero sí que es cierto que, como él comenta, pues tuvo la suerte de poder estar en la época de las IPOs tecnológicas y de poder aprovechar ese auge que hubo. Y eso sí que es verdad, que el mercado, como ya sabemos, es cíclico, y si ahora estamos en un mercado que es complicado, no quiere decir que siempre vayamos a tener un mercado complicado. Entonces hemos de seguir esforzándonos porque seguramente lleguemos en algún momento a tener ese filón o ese mercado que las cosas nos las pone más fáciles, y ahí es donde debemos de aprovechar todo el potencial y todo lo que hemos aprendido estando en un mercado complicado.
Market would open at 8, put on my positions, go to lectures, lunchtime, go in the computer room, flip them. But most of it was already done over the telephone. So in my day, wasn't so long ago, this was before broadband. So everything was dial-up, and at home it used to cost like £1 a minute to plug your internet in. So, and you used to only get quotes online, and when you pick up the telephone to trade, the quotes from the brokers would be totally different from what you see on the screen. So it was pretty slow, and spreads were really wide. So you had to trade very volatile situations, and then go home in the evening, do a bit of research, and do the same again the next day.
Was it that experience that got you into Goldman Sachs?
Pretty much, yeah. The Goldman Sachs situation was, typical situation where they come around on the milk round and do presentations. So obviously, first, second year university, you go to all of these, and you get to know all the companies. I'm sure here you have the same even today. The track record, which is just all of your trades that you've ever done and your performance and your risk over return. The track record, I basically told one of the traders on the desk at the presentations, the amount of money that I made at university, all the situations I was trading, and they were really interested. So I basically had a telephone interview the next day and emailed them my track record. So the telephone interview was with the head of the desk, and then I was invited down the next week to have interviews, and then offered the job on the same day, basically.
Okay. Do you think that method still applies for?
Bueno, ahora nos ha estado explicando cómo empezó a trabajar en Goldman Sachs. Al final, gracias a las operaciones que había estado haciendo desde su casa, dice que también trabajaba mucho para poder hacer esas operaciones, madrugando, compaginando universidad con inversión, además de luego también estar en momentos muy volátiles. Sí que es cierto que aprovechó la época de las IPO tecnológicas, pero también dice que para poder conectarse a internet tenías que pagar, y dice que era como 1 libra por minuto. O sea, es una barbaridad. Nosotros nos podemos tirar horas en ordenador investigando y no pagamos eso por internet. Entonces, a pesar de estar en una buena época, la situación tampoco era la más idónea para operar, que nos demuestra que aunque tengamos dificultades, siempre hay la manera de poder encontrar solución a esos problemas que tenemos. Lo supo aprovechar, y de hecho, cuando tuvo la oportunidad de poder entrevistarse con Goldman Sachs y demostrar todo el historial, y que había pasado épocas donde el mercado era muy volátil y aún así había sabido reaccionar, te fijas, lo que remarca no es cuánto ganó. Sí que dice que ganó dinero, pero que no perdió mucho dinero a pesar de estar en épocas volátiles. Entonces ahí vemos también la importancia de saber controlar nuestras pérdidas.
Getting students into for us that want to follow in the same sort of path, do you think that's the right way to go about getting a job, getting a trading job now?
One of the big problems with applying to investment banks, hedge funds, all financial institutions really, is a lot of the industries are in structural decline at the moment. So you're seeing investment banks culling tens of thousands of people in the Western world, hedge funds pulling back on hiring, the insurance industry pretty much the same. But the amount of applications has gone up exponentially in the last 10, 15 years. Everyone seems to have an undergraduate degree now. Everyone has a master's. So, differentiating yourself is really, really hard. Sure. In my day, the way I differentiated myself was by doing as well. And I think it still really applies. If you can show something on your resume and show something in your experience where you've actually applied real trading methodologies and used real money, you stand out in a huge way. Everybody's got an undergrad with a 2-1. Everyone's got a master's. When I used to see CVs, I used to hire a lot of people in the industry. Piles of CVs would drop on my desk from HR, and HR is really just a filtering process. They don't know what makes a good trader, but the people tick all the boxes, so the CVs end up on the desk. But there's thousands of them, and it's literally sometimes just taking them and going 2-1, masters, couple of good place institutions that you went to, nothing really interesting about this person, bin. I mean, that sometimes that can be the process.
Okay, so you already...
Algo que está hablando aquí que también me resulta curioso y realmente es importante. No se fijan en qué bueno sea tu currículum o cuántos másters tengas o cuántos estudios tengas, sino la práctica, qué es lo que has demostrado hasta ahora, cómo nos puedes ayudar, si tienes algo que los demás no tengan, porque dice que todos van como si fueran grandes expertos, pero luego a la práctica sí que son expertos en cuanto a titulaciones, pero en cuanto a la práctica no pueden demostrar nada. Y eso es lo que buscan este tipo de instituciones para contratar a traders.
Trading, once you're at Goldman Sachs, how did they develop your ability?
Well, publicly, these companies are public companies. So they're always going to say that they have official training programs. It's something, public companies have to show their shareholders that they're being responsible in training the people that they hire. So you do have an official training program that you go on in New York, which is pretty much sitting in a lecture theatre like we're here now for a couple of months. But also you're given a seat on the trading floor on Wall Street. To be honest, what you learn in that situation is really about applied finance, more that you would learn in a master's, but also the culture of the firm. And you get to meet everybody and all the right people.
Siguiendo con lo que hablaba antes, cuando ya estás dentro de Goldman Sachs y te hacen hacer este tipo de cursos, lo que hacen es te ponen en un trading floor para que veas la realidad y estés viendo en directo cómo operan ellos, y según él, y estoy completamente seguro que es así, aprendes mucho más con esas horas de práctica estando en un trading floor que teniendo muchas maestrías, o sea, muchos estudios. Al final en trading sí que es cierto que has de formarte bien, pero la formación no es solo de leerte y leerte libros, sino de formación práctica. Pienso que es lo más importante en el mundo de las inversiones, formarte de una manera práctica, como dice él también, con dinero real, que te pongas entre las cuerdas y sepas salir de ahí.
In the US office. So you don't really learn how to trade or learn about your profession in practice. That's when you come back on the desk, and really that's where you learn.
Okay. So you spent about 4 years at Goldman's. What were your highlights?
Highlights, well, walking onto the desk in the first week, where it's all hands to the pump because it was the tech boom. So this would have been June 2000. And where they just give, I mean, it was crazy. So they just give you a pot of money. With me, it was $10 million to start. They say, learn how to trade. This guy next to you is going to teach you what to do. Press this button to buy, press this button to sell. And because it was the tech boom, it was, you know, every day walking in with pretty much very little experience, saying, right, we're going to give you some responsibility today. You know, after a couple of weeks, you're going to IPO this company. And I'm like, okay, so I'm on the other side of the IPO now that I'm used to. And then next day doing a rights issue, raising capital for companies. Next day selling stakes in companies for large shareholders and pension funds. So yeah, I mean, the first couple of months was a real baptism of fire. You know, I thought I knew stuff. I didn't know anything until I walked onto that floor.
Dice que para empezar ya le dejaron 10 millones de dólares. Una barbaridad realmente para alguien que está empezando. Y como dice él, se dio cuenta que no sabía nada. O sea, al final la importancia de seguir creciendo y también no tener ego. Al final en el mundo del trading hay mucho ego, hay mucho querer aparentar, mucho querer ser mejor que el otro. Y pienso que esto nos puede pasar una factura bastante grande y si no tenemos la mente abierta para seguir aprendiendo cada día y focalizarnos en aprender, no en querer ser mejor que el otro, sino aprender y centrarnos en nosotros mismos.
I guess big trading situations. I mean, there's so many, but ones that, you know, really stand out, probably during the tech boom, doing all the IPOs. 2001, September the 11th, huge situation in the market. The recessionary periods of 2002, and then the takeoff of the market in 03, 04.
Okay. We'll have a little pause now and get some audience questions, if anyone's got any so far. If not, don't worry.
You've looked at both sides, you've looked at both trading and also the investment banking side.
Yep.
It's really important for people who are trading, doing just one of those, to have experience in both. Do you think that helps you to become better at either one, or because there's a lot of people who only go down one path?
Yeah, I really think so. I mean, you've really got to do it in practice with real money. If you get the experience doing that, even if you lose a little bit of money, you've got to see it as paying for the education of trading with real money. So even if you lose money and say to an investment bank or a hedge fund, this is my track record, I lost a couple of £1,000 last year trading, they will look at that favourably. So you've got no downside in doing it. So as long as you show that you've done it and you've traded for a year, and they say, well, what lessons have you learned? Well, I've learned not to do this. I've learned not to do this. The market last year was really tough. The fact that you're actually doing it means you're going to learn faster. So because you know, there's a great saying, you're not trading until you've got a position, right? Or you don't know anything about a stock until you've got a position. You know, so once you have a position in something, you're forced to learn and monitor your risk. So I think it's really, really important to do it. And you know, then going into the investment banking side, it is very, very different. So the approach to trading is very different in investment banks and hedge funds, the way professionals do it, compared to the retail trader or the man on the street.
Voy a hacer una pausa aquí para remarcar algo que ha dicho, que pienso que es importantísimo y que hemos de tener en cuenta. Dice que al final lo que le importa a este tipo de instituciones o bancas para poder contratarte es enseñar tus resultados, y que por tener malos resultados no significa que ya no querrán contar contigo, sino lo que van a valorar es que de esos malos resultados si has sabido aprender y sacar la lección para no volver a cometer ese error, ya que dicen que de esta manera tu aprendizaje va a ser mucho más rápido, porque al final ya te has expuesto a diferentes situaciones y si de todas ellas estás sacando conclusiones y aprendizajes, eso es lo que realmente valoran. Y pienso que es una frase muy buena y que nos debe de tranquilizar de si tenemos días malos y pérdidas, no verlo con malos ojos, sino verlo como aprendizajes, como él dice, como el que paga por tener una educación o un curso. Tenemos que verlo como ese tipo de inversión, no como simple dinero que hemos perdido, siempre y cuando después de esa pérdida queramos estudiar y ver qué es lo que ha pasado, dónde hemos fallado y aprender una lección.
So you'll learn how to do that, but from the ground up, just having a position will teach you a lot.
Is there any particular area that you'd recommend for someone who has a little experience in the markets, like Forex or equities? Is there any area that you say better suited to beginners?
I would say, okay, in terms of volatility, volatility creates opportunities for traders over any given time horizon. And that's what traders live and die on. They need volatility. Otherwise, you can't make money. So the Forex market, implied volatility over the last couple of years has been absolutely crushed. We've actually seen it tick up a little bit recently, especially in dollar yen, huge moves. Forex is good to learn in, but don't expect to make loads of money if you're day trading, because actually the volatility of Forex at the moment, of the major G10 currency pairs globally, is very, very low. So it's very difficult to make money over short periods of time. In equities, generally, historically, volatility is higher than in Forex.
Bueno, pues aquí acaba la parte 1 de esta entrevista, que me parece realmente interesante. En unos días subiré la parte 2, pero el final me parece muy bueno, ya que habla del por qué y también responde un poco a la pregunta del por qué yo hago acciones americanas. Por la volatilidad que tienen. Esta volatilidad, si sabemos aprovecharlo, nos va a permitir ganar dinero. Como dicen Forex y en diferentes mercados, la volatilidad se ha visto aplastada. Entonces, ganar dinero en ese tipo de mercados es mucho más complicado que si sabes aprovechar bien el mercado de acciones. Concretamente, acciones americanas, que es donde es el mercado que tiene más volatilidad y que históricamente ha sido así, no ha sido por un boom, como decía ahora en Forex, ¿no? Que ha habido contra el yen, creo que ha dicho dólar contra el yen, que sí que ha habido un aumento de volatilidad, pero es algo transicional, no va a ser así siempre. Entonces, de ahí que sea importante que si queremos ser day traders, o sea, operar a diario, nos centremos en un mercado que tenga la volatilidad necesaria para poder generar esos ingresos que estamos buscando. Así que nada, dejo este vídeo por aquí, subiré la parte 2 en unos días. Si os ha gustado, decírmelo. La verdad es que el otro día el vídeo que colgué tuvo bastante aceptación. Le disteis a me gusta, os lo agradezco, y si queréis seguir comentando, estáis totalmente invitados a comentar, a hacer vuestras preguntas, también a poner peticiones de vídeos que os gustaría que hiciera. Y nada, lo dicho, si os ha gustado, darle like, suscribiros, ya sabéis que voy a tratar de sacar este tipo de contenido y nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.